My name is Jonathan Pauling. I'm the Principal Policy Officer for the Greater London Authority Food Programme. So I work on behalf of the Mayor of London, supporting the work of the London Food Board and implementing the London Food Strategy. Well, I think what was very important for London were two things. In the initial bid document to the IOC, when we were bidding for the Games, we outlined what we thought was important around a sustainable strategy for food. So right at the beginning of the bidding for the Games, sustainable food was on the agenda. And second, London in between 2004 and 2006 started to develop a London food strategy. Outside of its bidding for the Games, a London Food Board was created in 2004 to give strategic direction to the Mayor of London around making London's food system healthier and more sustainable. So by the time we won the Olympic Games, this board was up and running. There was already a strategy for London, and this gave extra leverage and an extra political will to make the food at the Olympics reflect what the city was trying to do at a citywide level with its food strategy. So I think following on, so it was really important that that sustainable food was in the bid, but following on from that, what was equally important was that a number of non-governmental organisations and pressure groups within the food sector got together to put pressure or to encourage the LOCOG and the ODA to consider how they would best deliver on their promise for sustainable food. So a partnership of NGOs, including the Soil Association, which does organic accreditation, Sustain, the Alliance for Better Food and Farming, and the New Economics Foundation did a report on feeding the Olympics. And it was quite a detailed report looking at all of how they could best implement sustainable food at the Games. So that created a sort of a momentum of NGOs who were pushing for sustainability to be included, food sustainability to be included on the agenda. So I think the great thing that LOCOG did was, before they even started to work on the food for the Games, they set up a food advisory group. And this food advisory group was made up of all of the top sponsors, food sponsors, Coca-Cola, McDonald's, Cadbury's, and it also included people from the British Hospitality Association, the National Farmers Union, the Department for Environment, Food and Rural Affairs, and non-governmental organisations who worked in the space of food, health and sustainability. So there was a programme that lasted about 2 years, or 18 months, whereby this group got together and decided what the top issues were and the top priorities. They developed subgroups to look at specific issues around sourcing, around animal welfare, around fair trade, and one of the biggest groups that was convened, I think had something like 40 members, was on fish. So just all of the groups, all of the pressure groups who work on the issue of sustainability in seafood, all got together in that subgroup and debated for many, many months what a standard for sustainable fish would look like and how you would assure it for the Games. And so that was probably the most difficult group, but it was the one that also yielded the greatest benefits, because the sustainability standard for fish, for seafood for the Games, was sort of the highest level. I mean, I think the sponsor companies came along just to keep a watch on what was happening, because they have a corporate interest in making sure that the values being developed through the food advisory group don't diverge from the values that they hold as corporations. McDonald's in the UK has very high standards for sourcing of its ingredients. So actually their standards in Britain are actually a lot higher than a lot of even high street restaurant chains would be, who might talk about sustainability as an ethos but don't actually deliver it. For us, one of the easy things was the two biggest sponsors, McDonald's and Cadbury's in Britain, which was a specific tier 2 local sponsor. They've got very good corporate social responsibility programs, they've got good sourcing standards, so a lot of the stuff that was talked about didn't give them cause for concern. All of the companies made a commitment to look at certain areas of sustainability for the game. So Cadbury's, it was very easy for them to commit to provide fair trade chocolate for all of the game's venues, because they've already developed very good fair trade sourcing practices with a number of their leading products, and they just rolled that out over a number of other products. McDonald's did a lot around the games had a commitment to zero waste to landfill, so they actually looked at a number of their packaging items, because some of their packaging items weren't recyclable and weren't compostable, so they had to look at changing. The biggest challenge for McDonald's during the games was that the Food Vision held the standard for British red tractor assured chicken. Now, McDonald's, as I said, McDonald's sourcing across their product range is very good in the United Kingdom, except they source all of their chicken from mainly from Brazil. There was a long and very public discussions about this issue, because everyone had agreed for the standards for the Olympic Games would be British red tractor assured chicken, and the only people that weren't complying to it were McDonald's, the top sponsor. There was a very vociferous member of the Greater London Assembly, a Green member of the Assembly, who just kept arguing the point, that it became such a sort of it became quite high profile in the public consciousness, and eventually McDonald's relented, and for the period of the Games they sourced all of their chicken from the United Kingdom. So there was a lot of goodwill in the development of the Food Vision. The difficult thing for everyone came when it came to implementation, because LOCOG were on a timeline. They needed to get their contractors in place. They needed to work out their safety issues, their food hygiene, their staffing issues, their equipment, the cooking equipment, the hire of whatever they needed for the infrastructure for the project. So the standards, which all of the caterers, of course, when they were bidding for the work, said, yes, we'll meet these standards, that became a concern for everyone outside of LOCOG that some of those standards might not be met. And we were able to translate those concerns of the voluntary sector and the people working on food assurance to LOCOG to say, look, there's some concerns about how caterers are going to meet the standards and whether they truly understand how to deliver on what they've promised. We'd like to have a meeting with you to explain our concerns and tell you how we can help. So we convened a meeting here at City Hall with the chair of the London Food Board and all of the assurance bodies. So we had all of the organic standards bodies, we had all of the fair trade associations, we had all of the animal welfare associations, the National Farmers Union, and all of the fish accrediting bodies for fish and seafood. But we also knew that they needed help, and their contractors, their catering contractors, needed help in fully meeting the standards. And that was especially true of the seafood standard, because it was such a comprehensive standard for sustainability that very few, if any, of those catering companies had ever delivered a catering activity to those standards before. What they were amazingly, LOCOG allowed us to do was to open up access to all of the menus from the catering companies and for the assurance bodies to analyse those menus and then offer advice to the catering companies. So there was a real amazing spirit of cooperation between the pressure groups, low cog who were delivering it, and the catering companies who actually were the ones who had to put the food on the plate. I think that is the most successful, one of the most successful things. The other was that we managed to get the agreement from Coca-Cola, who owns all of the rights to the menus and the menu boards for the games, to allow us to put the logos of the organisations who provided assurance for the food sourcing. So on every menu board you'd have Coca-Cola and the list of food items that you could buy, and then on the right you'd have the logo saying this food was procured to Red Tractor standards, MSC certified fish, fair trade, and I can't remember, there was four logos sending a message about the sourcing and sustainability of the food for the games. I think that's, we're lucky in London. We have some very skillful NGOs in this space who are very good at working, who have very high aims and objectives, but are very good at working collaboratively as well. Because actually they were the people who brought the expertise to the table. We don't have the expertise. LOCOG didn't have the expertise, but these guys know and understand food sourcing, sustainability criteria, and they worked, and to their credit, they continued to work in an open and friendly manner through some negotiations and discussions which were quite tricky, quite difficult. So I think that a lot of praise and credit is due to them. So I think you're in a really great position to showcase the best of your food and the best of your ingredients and your seasonal produce and your local farm produce, and which is really exciting. It's an interesting tension when you've got a really fantastic food culture already, how you balance that tension with the fact that you're going to have people from all over the world who have different dietary needs and different expectations. So you want to be strong and proud about your food culture and show that off, and then you need to find a way to accommodate people who are awkward eaters who don't like eating food from other cultures or whatever it might be. But I expect that you'll do it very well because of that fantastic love of food that you already have.